We are back for another episode of Tipsy Chronicles. I'm your host, Justin. With me, Miss Vanessa.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Thanks for having me back.
Yes, thank you for being back. And we have all of our guests are very special, but this is a guest of Vanessa, so very, very special. JT.
Double special.
Double special.
Triple down.
He's some kind of special.
It's something, you know.
I used to work with JT years back.
We did.
Yeah, before he got cool.
Even before I got canned.
You got canned, then got cool?
No.
Oh, man.
I should have got canned about 14 times there.
At least.
At least, for sure.
You're so lovable, though.
I know.
Y'all see.
We'll see. It's up for debate.
Well, I heard you're really cool, so I'm going to go with you got canned, then you got cool.
That's a good that's a good song title. I had to write that down, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So we know you do music.
Oh, I do it. Can I cuss on this show?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll fucking do it,
Yeah.
son.
You can say
I get
whatever
on
you
that.
want.
Yeah, I get on that music.
It'd be funny to hear you tell your story and try to not cuss during that.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll just use like PG, or we'll just do
it however you feel.
it
like
on like the TBS where they auto correct all the cuss words out.
Oh yeah.
It's
They
like
could bleep you a whole bunch.
yeah. What was it on Big Lebowski? You know that scene where
I've
they're
still never seen that movie.
really you've seen it before.
Yeah.
Okay, you know the scene where he's like where Walter's trashing the Corvette, that guy's Corvette in the street, and they have to like edit out all the cuss words, and they said, "This is what happens, Walter," or you know, when you find a stranger in the Alps.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Not from
yeah.
that movie, but I've heard that before.
That's what it is. I think there's a band called Stranger in the Alps, or an album, something like that now.
If
Anyway.
not, there could be.
You know what I have on this thing? I got
Oh.
wait, but I wish there was like a buzzer when because you're gonna cuss. You're gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so no cussing.
Please do. I prefer it
Yeah,
that way.
tell it how you want.
Can I get like either a donkey or like a oh hell yeah.
She called it.
I did.
She called that earlier. That
I'm
were gonna
glad
love
you
that.
did it before he did it on his own.
Is that like one of your stipulations for being
You
on the
do that a
podcast?
lot. And I was like, you got to do the burr button. I was like, he loves doing that shit.
So good you
Nice.
called that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Off to a good start.
Yeah.
Man, just kickstart the dirt bike here. Come on.
I think I'm gonna have to load like a bunch of different samples on here just because.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So JT, tell us about yourself. Besides the fact that you do music, and then worked with Miss Vanessa.
Well, I'm a delicious onion with many layers, so we can start with music. But
You're gonna make me cry. You're gonna make me cry.
He does that.
Indeed.
Okay.
He does that.
Yeah, you won't be able to escape it. No, I've been a musician. I've been living in Austin for like 18 years. I'm from East Texas, Longview, Texas. Yeah, I just play country music. I've got a little DJ side project, that I won't tell you about, because it's mysterious.
Okay.
You wear a mask?
Just during COVID. Yeah.
Okay. You can bring that back for your DJ set. You look real cool.
Oh, yeah.
But the blue one, like not like a cool
Yeah.
custom one. Just
Be like,
the
but
one.
I'll bedazzle.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Be weird if you
I'll
didn't.
just bedazzle some like teeth on there or something.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Ooh, a grill.
Yeah, a grill.
Paul Wall mask. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
I always wanted, because my teeth are kind of crooked, I always thought like a really crooked tooth grill would be so sick.
Awesome.
Just gangled like West Virginia, just,
Or East Texas.
East Texas for sure,
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You should patent that immediately.
Yep.
Just a snaggle grill.
As soon as this episode's over, he's going to patent it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JT's patented snaggle grill.
Sergeant Snaggle Grill.
Yeah.
Giving Johnny Dang a run for his money. Put him out of business.
Dang, Johnny.
Wow.
But I heard you guys were doing this Tipsy Chronicles, and I have been tipsy before.
Beautiful.
But today's story doesn't necessarily deal with alcohol, but it but it's one of the it's kind of a, I won't say, I would teeter on the line of saying it could be a legendary story at the bar that we worked at together.
Absolutely, especially because you were working.
Yeah,
that shift.
I was working.
He wasn't.
You know?
It wasn't playtime for JT.
No, it
Not
wasn't
supposed to be.
And I wasn't trying to screw up that night at work either.
Yeah, he really wasn't.
Are we just getting into it, or am I still talking about myself?
I mean, we could talk about you before, after, during. There's no rule to that. So if you're feeling it now, that's fine. But I mean, if you want to talk about just you in general some more, you could do that too.
Y'all, I'm on Instagram. Find me, and then you can just scroll and then like get a general idea about stuff. And I'm on Spotify.
You see his butt a lot on the Instagram.
Yeah, JonathanTerrell. I'm on the internet.
You want to spell that for them? At least Terrell.
Yeah, spelled like Terrell, but just west of Louisiana.
He hates when people pronounce it Terrell.
But
so do that.
Now I'm kind of going with it too.
Yeah, you sound cool saying it.
I'm kind of just like, I don't really give a shit anymore.
Just say it different every time.
People, yeah.
What people.
And so I'll be like, oh, my name is Jonathan Terrell. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I might not be.
If you have the grill, then you can change the last name. That's how you should. You should use that persona with that.
Dude, man. We're gonna start that band we are talking about, Everything But the Grill.
Oh yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Pop punk for Snaggles out there.
Goddamn. I love it.
Looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah, me too.
Keep your eyes peeled for this.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. So your story in general, this is the first time where I'm going into it blind. I've never heard this story before. Vanessa actually has the upper hand and knows this story. And
never gets old.
I know absolutely nothing about it, except that it's amazing.
It was kind of fun, kind of terrifying. Also, like, I couldn't believe that I didn't get fired for this. Like, absolutely was beside myself.
I mean, that's just how cool you are. We all love you.
And I'll tell you later after I tell the story, the reason I didn't get fired for it.
Oh, I don't know that part.
It's many layers to this onion. Get your Kleenex now.
I'm glad after all these years I still don't know the whole story.
So once upon a time, in a bar not so far from here, in a honky tonk bar not so far from here, we were I think it was a Thursday night, and I was working with a couple buddies there. And it was regular night. There's a little bluegrass bands playing in the early slot. And I see a buddy of mine, and he comes in, and sometimes when friends would come in back then, we would, take a shot with them, or, hey, good to see you. We'll do a little baby shot, and he was like, hey, I don't know if you want to microdose a little baby, a little snippet of acid. And I said, I'm kind of on thin ice usually here. So I'll just take a little tiny baby dose, not when you dose infants, but like a small child size, grown adult child size, dose. And, so I took it, and it was fine for a minute. And then I started going to punch orders in, and then the first thing I noticed was I'd go to punch an order on the computer, and the button would move, and I'd be like, wait, because it would just literally move to the side when I try to punch it in,
right,
and trying to give people their checks, and it's busy, and so I start kind of getting like my heart's racing a little bit, and I start like coming to realize that this is I've done, acid before, and I'm familiar with how it kicks in and what, happens to your body when those things start kind of warming up.
And then like what's about to happen if it's already hitting you that hard.
Yeah. And that's where I was like, okay, you got this. Just focus. Just like cool it down. You know, you don't have to talk to a bunch of people tonight, which is very hard for me. And so the first thing, this girl comes over and she was like, hey, my boyfriend's here and I have a restraining order against him and I need you to throw him out now. And I was like, and it sounded like she was talking to me in a cave where I was like, what? Your boyfriend? Why do you have a restraining order on your boyfriend? She's like, get him out of here. He used to kick the shit out of me. And I was like, what? But it was like, and I felt like I was in a cave listening to her. So I talked to one of the door guys and I'm like, this guy's got to go, you know? And then so I was like, okay, first pothole.
Smooth sailing for
the dunk. We're through. We got it. We got it. And then so my buddy that was working there, this guy called him 5,000, and he turns around and he says he moves his head like real jerky, and he goes, man, JT, what's wrong with you? And when he did, he like did this kind of like jive neck thing, you know. And I remember his head split into 8 heads with little tiny 5,000 heads on purple snake necks that came out from his shoulders. And they all together said, JT, what's wrong with you? And I was like, oh, no.
You do a great 5K impression, by the way.
Oh, dude.
That was perfect.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is very, very far gone. I can't be here. So I'm like panicking, but also trying to like get drinks together. And I told him, I was like, dude, I tried to take a microdose of acid. And I think, because I watched him like tear off a little corner of this one acid, you know, square. And so, I mean, I thought it was like a quarter, you know, manageable. I'm a grown boy. Here, let's be honest here. And but it just kicked my fucking ass. And I went,
right.
Yeah, my ass right there. And,
first time we used that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was the first time for everything. And so, so then the second thing I noticed is like, people used to come into the bar and, you know, and they would always come in and be like, is mostly like bachelorette parties and stuff. They'd be like, this place smells like shit. And you're like, no, it doesn't. It smells like throw up and bands and beer, and like it smells like a bar. It smells like a dirty old bar that's been here for 50 years.
I mean, they weren't wrong.
You know, they weren't
it
wrong.
smelled bad, but
we were trying to
for
be
people like us, we're like, well, it's a bar. It's a normal bar.
Yeah, we're trying to be like, well, get over it. You want to dance? Are you trying to, you know, come here to dance and like get laid? Then fucking figure it out. You know, go stand by the popcorn machine so it doesn't smell that bad. And then but it was like, you know, I'd been working there for a while, and so you don't really notice it anymore. And then I turn around and I'm like all my senses are just tingling and like expanding, and I'm like, this place smells like shit. This place smells fucking horrible. And I couldn't it was like the first time I smelled it as like a newborn man child of like the first time I'm like, oh, it really does smell like somebody just threw up a bunch of sausage and liquor on the floor and let it just sit there in July. And you know, but because my senses were so heightened, you know, that's what was happening, and I just started freaking out. And then I look over at the band, and the band's all in this like yellow light, and they, for whatever reason, they all, because it's a bluegrass band, and they all had fucking overalls on, and this guy was in a banjo solo, and I just like was looking at him, because it sounded like his banjo was like a tattoo gun tattooing the inside of my ear, and I was like, I hate this.
Well, you don't like banjos anyway, right?
I mean,
you're not a banjo fan.
I'm a banjo. Like, I don't have banjos in my band because I'm not that kind of band.
Yeah.
But for a while, I think I just I I think I got burned out on bad banjo players playing at the bar that we worked at.
Which I believe was that night.
Yeah.
I just remember drawing a little cartoon of you one time with a banjo. And you're like, I don't have a fucking banjo. I was like, well, my bad.
I don't own a banjo.
I was like, wow. It's easier than drawing a guitar.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a circle with a broomstick on there.
So yeah, he hated the banjo at the time.
I do remember that. And I've come around a lot because I feel like a lot of banjo playing has gotten a lot better, and I think a lot of times at bars, sometimes they don't know how to like mix a banjo into, well, they just like stick a mic in front of it and then it's just squealing the whole time, and it's just like the guy with the banjo is the issue the whole time.
Right.
And if you're trapped behind a bar while there's
on acid
banjo bands that are like in some like fucking acid mountain jam up there, while the like walls, it looks like they're in like a yellow volcano of like acid, mountain jams.
Oh my
which
God.
Sounds cool, like it's but if you're at work and you're like, this has gone too far.
Yeah.
And so my buddy 5K, he says, all right, look, you got to tell the boss. You got to tell the boss, because I was like, you got to get me the fuck out of here. I was like, I can't be here. I'm like, I'm caving in. And I'm losing it. And so he's like, well, I'm not going to tell him. You have to tell him, but I'm going to watch because it's going to be fucking hilarious.
Nice.
Can I backtrack you a little bit?
Yeah, shoot.
Isn't there, before all of this got to this point, didn't you find the guy that gave it to you and you learned how much you actually took?
I think so. That could have been a part of the...
Did I make that up?
Maybe.
For some reason, I thought, like, when you talked to him, he was like, dude, you were supposed to take this much, not the whole thing, or whatever.
I think I saw him like the next,
then it ended up being
next
like
week
10
or
hits
whatever,
something.
and it was something.
Okay.
It was I kind of forgot about that part.
All right. Well,
because
I'll let you get back
it's
to
been
it.
years.
It's been a very long
It's
time.
been maybe like 8, 9 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And
well, it was a lot either way.
it was a lot. It was a lot.
No microdose.
No microdose, and so the so I had to go to the manager that night and tell him, and he like luckily laughed very loud, and I was like, look, dude, I know I'm shooting you guys in the foot because it's a Thursday night, it's busy, but I don't care. Like, I need you to order me a car and get me out of here. And I was like, and I'm gonna go stand in the parking lot till the Uber comes. And I'm just standing in the parking lot. All the trees are just like these vibrating, electric pecan trees, and it's like whenever you when you have like these digital LEDs like in the parking lots now that have like several tiny bulbs. If you ever look down at the leaves on the ground, there's like fractal images of all the leaves from each little tiny bulb. There's like in the shadows, and so that was happening like a hill country galaxy of pecan leaves.
Like the
above me.
prettiest that places ever
It
looked.
was. It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that was great.
but I was still like, I needed, because people would be walking up to the bar in the parking lot and they're like, hey, JD. And I'm like, no. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And so,
Someone should have put like a blanket, like a hoodie or something over you.
I know.
Or put one of the security dudes with you to babysit.
Just a velvet rope. No guests near the porta potty tonight. No guests near their employee porta potty.
Everyone's gonna know exactly the place we're talking about.
Well, sure. I mean, it's a hot spot, but we don't want to chuck them under the
of course not.
The bus there, just in case it gets back to like the.
In case you ever need to work there again.
Probably will. This next record flops. We'll see. So my buddy comes out in the parking lot, the other bartender, and he goes, all right, here's the deal, man. I ain't trying to fuck with you for real. For real, dog. I ain't trying to fuck with you. But I need you to know something, man. And I was like, please, just let me get out of here. Please tell me the car's on the way. And he's like, your car's almost here, man. This driver's name is fucking Staniel. And I was like, it was like I hope somebody out there listening, his name's Daniel. I'd never heard that name before, but for whatever reason, it just like
fucked you up.
It shaved a layer off my soul in the fucking parking lot, and I just was like,
oh god,
like having trouble breathing.
Well, okay. Also, I believe it was 5K that told you that, right?
Yeah. And he showed me on his phone.
Right. He wasn't fucking with him, but even when he's not fucking with you, you feel like this guy is always fucking with you.
Yeah.
Like he's just that kind of person. You know, he's always fucking with you, but even if he's being serious, you never know.
9 out of 10 times it's a bit.
Right.
That's like gonna be good.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly. So that's fair.
Yeah, it was fair, and he was really excited to show me that too, because he knew it was like, he's like, this is the worst shit ever for him to mess with tonight.
It's my favorite part of the story, and I could still never remember his name.
Daniel.
I know.
God.
Like a
Daniel.
like a stallion named Daniel.
Oh my god.
Or a stuttering Daniel. I don't know. I can't decide.
I love
There's
it so much.
you know, hopefully the listeners write in and tell us that we need your what do you think Staniel is, and where do you think it comes
There you
from?
go.
Cool.
I love it.
You know, maybe we get some messages from the listeners out there
I like that.
about
That's good.
Staniel.
No, so every episode we do a poll. So we're gonna do a poll with Staniel, and that's
All right. Time to dance. Yeah.
Is Staniel a dancer? Yes. or no?
Yeah, could be.
How was Daniel's
So
driving?
he was good, but okay. So this is the thing about Staniel. I get in, you know, and now obviously, like I've told you, like my visuals and my smell and everything's super sensitive. You're just like, you know, full kick, and I get in, and the first thing I see is like 4 black ice air fresheners dangling in the rear view, and it's like I walk into a cologne store that had just been ransacked, and I was just like, oh, like it was so much, and I had the window down, and I remember just like flopping around the back seat, and I remember seeing his eye in the rear view, because I remember, like, you ever seen the look of like a scared horse while you got it by the halter, and it's just like their face is turned, and it's just this white wall of eye. This was Staniel's white wall of eye in the rear view, and it was like a 20-minute drive because I lived like way east side. And
that part too.
yeah, he was just like, I'm gonna turn the praise and worship music up, and I'm just gonna like pray that this guy doesn't puke in my car, because he didn't know what I was on, or he thought I was just, you know, they're just pouring me into a cab from a bar or something like that. But so you know, so I get home, and like, you know, at that job I'd been going out a bunch and like hanging out with my like good time pals, and I just had a conversation with my partner at the time that they're like, you cannot be getting fucked up at work or after work all the time. You're coming home late. You're getting up at like 2 p.m. I'm like, yeah, but still. And so like, I left my, you know, truck there at the gig, and
I forgot y'all had the conversation before that night.
Like 4 days before. And so I like sneak into the house and like sneak in and I get in the guest room, and I'm just like, okay, all right, I think I'm good. And then I was like, fuck, I really need my laptop because I want to watch this George Harrison documentary. And so I had to like went on this like reconnaissance mission just in the house. It's just like, and I came clean about it, you know, the next day. But so I watched this George Harrison thing, and he was totally like my spirit guide through the whole thing, because, you know, they talk about, you know, doing drugs and doing music, and I was like, 2 green check marks right there. And so so I get a call from the owner at 7 a.m. and he says,
Were you still awake?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And he says, he's like, so I talked to the managers last night, and so you had a pretty good time, huh? And do you want to talk about that? And I was like, yeah. I said, it was an accident. I really didn't mean to fully dose acid. And A, it'll never happen again. B, I understand if you have to fire me because it's kind of fucked up. I left my crew high and dry behind a shift, and it wasn't a cool thing to do. And I was completely aware of that. And he said, let me think about it. And so I went to get my car later that day, and I saw him there in the parking lot, and he's like, I'm going to let you keep your job. And I'll tell you why. He's like, because one day, when you think about like legendary, honky tonks in Texas, they all have a story. And they all have like a story that you wouldn't fucking ever believe. And he was like, and one day, I hope that you tell this story, and it'll go down in the history books of like the myth of this bar, the legends of this bar. And he was like, I don't want you to do that at work anymore, but like this is your one get out of jail free card.
Glad you did it.
And I was like, well, now, I mean, in hindsight, I wish I didn't do it, because it was like, it was just it wasn't like a fun trip,
right? Right.
And the fucked up part is like I didn't learn my lesson from the first time I tried to microdose before I got on an airplane in Arizona. And I had to stand in security for 2 hours fully like tripping balls.
I would have laughed.
I was like meditating. And I remember I was wearing all black with white Western fringe and had my guitar case and sunglasses on and a cowboy hat.
Oh my God.
And so people were like coming up and they're just like, oh, are you a musician? And I'm like, because I knew I had, and so I was in like, I went out to go see my younger brother graduate from Marine school, and San Diego. And so me and my older brother were partying, and then we had a layover in Phoenix. So we went to Tempe, and we ended up partying with all these like drag rats. I don't know if you, drag rats might not be a term used outside of Austin, but like on the drag here in Austin, it's like, it's a lot of like traveling kids, like, homeless, train hoppers, and so we just like met up these dudes, and we just partied with them.
And they had acid?
Well, we got really fucked up, and I didn't remember taking any acid, and my brother was like, I look over and this guy's like putting on your tongue. And then I had this like flashback. Remember this like dude with like dirty black fingernails, like putting this like bathtub acid on my tongue. And then he was like, you're going to love this. And I was like, I got to be on a flight in 3 hours. It'd be fine, And then I forgot. And we get on a bus to go back to Phoenix. And I'm just like, what's happening to my jaws? Your jaws get tightened and your hands start sweating. And I remember, but my brother was wasted drunk. So we were both just like hammered trying to get to the airport. And so we get in through security, and it's like a 40-minute wait. And we get in, right? And then he's like, it's this way. Wait, it's this way. Our flight's this. And so we end up accidentally walking out of the security thing. And then all these like armed guards run at us with machine guns, and they're like, "You can't go back in that way." And we're like, whoa, like we just like we're 3 feet out of the thing, and they're like, "Don't care, got to go back through the security." And so we go back, and security's like double.
Oh my God!
And this time I'm just like full on. But I mean, at the time too, it was like, I mean, this had to be like 2005 or 6 or something like that, and I just didn't have any money. I had like scraped together like $200 for a flight. So there's no way I could have like done it.
Right. Or like flown out the next day or whatever. Just threw that ticket away.
Yeah. At the time I was working like I was a stage tech. I was like loading trucks in, wearing like cargo shorts, and, had a Leatherman on me all the time, and just, setting up shit for bands and stuff.
Can you do that now? Just throw plane tickets away?
I do that on my, no, I can't. No, but it was
checking
like
out your financial situation.
But it was like, back then I had like $200 in my bank account.
Like that was all your money.
And that was like, and my rent was $400.
Right.
Good
old days.
Good old days. I know.
Some of that sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, the $400 part was great. And I lived on South Congress next to Seaboys in those apartments, but they were really seedy back then.
Yeah.
Now they're like really nice.
Yeah, somehow.
Somehow. Great location. But yeah, I didn't learn from that trip. Oh, but I remember getting on the plane, and I had the aisle seat, and my brother had the window seat, and he was like leaning on the window, and he told me the next day that he said, I got in his face, and I said, "You give me that window seat, or I'll fucking kill you." And I was flying home on this like cringy bathtub acid was like horrible, but I had this great view of flying over the desert, like canyons and like crop circles and shit down there. And yeah, and it was but I just remembered, like that was supposed to be a micro dose too.
Yeah. Have you taken acid since?
Yes.
Was it supposed to be a microdose?
It was a normal everyday 10 strip fine for everybody, And we lived to sing another day.
So what I actually gathered from your story is that you were already cool before you got canned.
Yes.
Because you were able to keep your job.
You never actually got fired, by the way, right?
No, I never did. Whenever I decided to go full time into playing music, I saved up 6 months for like 6 months, all my bills, all my rent, every kind of payment thing I could even imagine, and then booked myself out for like 8 months. And it was like, if I can't swing it after this, I don't have any business being a musician. And then, 6 months later, I was booked out for another year. So I was like,
That's
okay,
awesome.
we're doing it. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And I had no real job in 6 years.
Woo.
Well, playing music.
It's been that long.
It's been a long time, yeah.
Crazy.
I know.
Good time.
Yeah, that was a great time. Very formative years for me there.
The ones that you remember.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I slept on a pool table a bunch, and yeah, there's just but it was, I think there was such a cool moment in the town during that time. It was like before the rest of the world got into country music again.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of this like seed that was planted right in the middle of town that there were great bands were coming up. There were great songs being written, and it was like a real moment before it was on the world stage. And,
I never thought about it like that, but that's
Yeah.
very true. Because I got made fun of a lot for working at a country bar.
Well, it was
And I was like, it's awesome.
it was awesome,
Yeah.
and it was like ours. It was
Yeah.
like that moment in time. It was, it was kind of
Yeah.
like the 2000s in New York or something like
Yeah.
that, or Paris in the 20s. It was like it was still a little taste of old Austin where you could still park anywhere. There like condos weren't a thing yet.
Yeah.
And-
there were like
and-
none around us.
Yeah, I'm
Awesome.
I remember like it was the bar that we were at, almost said the name, was still like, that hotel Vegas that was down the road.
Yeah.
That was still a hotel
Yeah.
that like you could rent by the hour, and you would drive down the street and like girls would walk out to your truck and be like, "Where are you going?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have that kind of money. Yeah, but
Do you still go back there?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love it, and I love that it smells like shit. It smells like less of shit now.
Way better,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Especially when they were building condos around us. I mean, we just got, every rat in Austin made it its way to us.
mm-hmm.
That was the peak of our, I don't know, smelliness, I guess.
Yeah.
Because then you had the beer, like, how, like, old, like, spilled beer smells like vomit. Like, it just does.
Right.
Even if it's not vomit. But you had that with, like, wet, dead rats stuck in the walls that, like, you just hope dry up and, like, that smell goes away, But they were getting leaked on by, like, toilet water from the inside of the wall. Like, that was a nightmare.
Rats and ghosts.
Oh, yeah. We had a whore ghost in there, is
Yeah.
what we called her.
I had a couple situations with her. I know this is tipsy, and we, I don't
It's
know.
still at the bar.
Okay, it's still at the bar.
I do think we need to check time, though.
Yeah.
We got a few more minutes.
Because we have the room till 4:30.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He'll go all night.
No, I'll tell you.
I wish you could. We're just running out of time
I'll
here.
tell you a quick. There had been things where like doors getting kicked open, like glasses falling off the shelf. But the one thing I remember the most that happened there was this. I was closing out at the end of the night. We're counting money at the bar, and we just like me and the manager get this like. Just this kind of weird chill, and we look over, and if you walk in, there's like a mop sink to the right that goes in the hallway of that goes to the patio, and from that mop sink little corner, like this silver cloud floats across the room and goes behind the pool cues, and it was just like plain as day, like a silver glistening cloud.
I don't remember that story.
Floated across the room, and me and the manager left all the money on the bar and left.
It freaked y'all out?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. You think she was evil?
I don't know. I have a picture of her. I'll show you though.
Were you microdosing this evening?
I was not, and it was like a slow night. It was just us two there, so it was
a lot of weird shit
yeah.
happened.
No, I believe it. I just thought I'd ask because.
I mean, for the podcast.
Know.
Yeah, I was hammered. Are you kidding me? I was so tipsy.
She was around a lot. She was around all the time, though.
She was, yeah. Yes, a lot of people felt her, and a few people came in to try to talk to her, things like that.
Yeah, I believe in that stuff. I've had a few experiences with that in some old bars I've worked at as well. But I feel like I would probably, for whatever reason, had tried to work the rest of that shift for whatever reason. I probably would have gotten fired.
For not leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I tried to stay in there as hard as I could, and it just wasn't going to happen.
I could have perhaps changed
Oh, yeah, I remember that picture.
Yeah.
my mind and did what you did.
This is, I can't zoom in, but she's in the corner.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah. we're looking at a picture of a ghost in in this honky tonk.
Send it to me later.
We'll try to get it in there for some of the listeners there.
For the spin-off, for the Halloween edition.
Yeah.
That picture is cool because the girl who took it, like, she's like, I was the one that took that photo. It's obviously like a staged photo. Like, she knows who's in it. And she's like, that person was not there. Like, no, it's not. It was early, I think. They took that picture
it was like
early.
happy hour.
Yeah, like it was daylight outside. So nobody else was there. It was like just their people.
I showed it to a friend of my wife's, and she goes, "Oh my God, you can take a purse to the afterlife." Because this picture, this chick's wearing a purse.
She totally is. It looks like a little emo kid.
She does. She said, "This bitch got a carry on."
That's great.
Oh, that's so good.
I love that. I love that. She said,
"Oh my God." I think I'm with you. I think I would have done my best to fucking work it. I think I would have tapped out like JT and been like, I'm out. But I would have had to call someone to pick me up. Like, I feel like in that moment, I would have been like, Mom, get your ass over here. Because my mom lives in Austin. Like, get your ass over here right now. I'm losing my shit. I just need you to hug me.
That's the thing.
That would be me.
I worked. It wasn't like I started like feeling silly and then was like immediately gone.
Right.
It was still getting busy. And they're like, you can't leave yet until you can't.
Right.
You know,
and because you took it pretty early, right?
Yeah. And so I mean, it took like 45 minutes to kick in. So we were rolling, you know. And then I fought it for like another hour. Yeah. And then before
you weren't like, oh, I need to leave because it's about to hit me.
No, I was like, I'm gonna roll through this. I'm gonna try to like, but you can't power through. There's not like a way that you can like.
It's not like mushrooms. You can't really like bring like
you can't like
reel it in,
eat something and reel
or like throw it up. You know,
it's in your blood. You know.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were in the Abercrombie and Fitch car, weren't you like hanging your head out the window at one point?
Abercrombie.
Like, the smell, like you know, Abercrombie smells like you got punched in the face with cologne and Samuel's whip.
Samuel's whip.
Do you remember what kind of car it was? Glad you said.
Yeah. I feel like it was like a Dodge Durango.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
it was
This
like
makes
a
sense.
nice car. It was very
Right.
clean, you know.
I was just picturing an Impala for some reason, so that's
was-
what I was
I'm-
hoping it was.
I could see that too.
Right.
I remember it like being a Dodge like SUV of
Yeah.
some sort, and I think it was a Durango.
I couldn't remember if you told me you hung your head out the window like a dog,
Oh, I
or if you
did.
wanted to.
Yeah, I was like full like Joker movie style, like head out the window, just drool going through his back window.
Oh my God. That
Oh, it's so good.
poor Staniel.
Daniel, I
Poor
know.
Daniel. Oh my gosh. I hope he hears this someday.
I know.
He's
They,
gonna
and
be like, I know that guy.
they took they took the Uber right out of my tips, and I was like, I still get tips. This is great. They're like, well, you worked a couple hours, you know, and they're like, but we're gonna duck $60 from you for this Uber.
That's fair.
I thought that was I
very
was like,
fair.
that's very fair.
Yeah.
You know.
You're right. I mean, it's cool you got tips.
Yeah, but you know the good thing about the acid, no hangover.
You're
So you know, went
right.
back to my shift the next day. You know,
How long were you high?
it was a long one.
It was, right?
It was. I mean, I probably took that hit at like 10 o'clock that night, and probably left at midnight, and was still awake whenever the boss man called me at 7 a.m.
I figured you would have been high for like at least a full 24 hours.
It was. I mean, it wasn't. It was not. It was maybe like
You peaked at a certain point, and then you were just kind
I
of
peaked at like 1.
Yeah.
You know, 12:31, and then it was just still pretty heavy until, you know, heavy but manageable until like 4. But then I was too like jittery to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know?
And probably stressed about work. And
Oh,
then, you know,
yeah.
your partner being pissed after
Oh.
she just said, don't do that.
Yeah, double. Like I said, double cool.
Oh, good
Yeah.
times.
Awesome. That
Good time.
is an amazing story.
Thank you.
There was.
It might be my personal favorite bar story of all time. And of course, I'm a little biased, but I feel like I would hear that from anyone and just like, because every step of it is just like every part of it is amazing to hear. I know it wasn't for you, but it's great
Yeah.
for everyone else.
I mean, like I'm kind of. It's one of those like stories that I can't believe I got out like unscathed as I did.
You're charming.
Yeah, but I knew that my charming powers were like not gonna do any jack shit for this moment. It was like, hey, you've screwed over your boys at work
Yeah.
and left them during mid shift. You know.
You know, if you think about it, that really could have been any of us who had done that. And some of them maybe even on purpose. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I
Well-
think at that point in the opening of that spot, like all of us did some like dumb, crazy shit at some point that we got away with, and we're like, fucking how?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
including the owners. You know?
oh yeah. I mean, I remember like putting employees in the office to like sleep
Yeah.
at like 12
Yeah.
midnight.
Yeah. Good
or
time.
just like you have to go sit down. You
Yeah.
have to go outside and puke or something like that was, but it was
Take a
you
nap.
know, it was kind of, when they opened, it was kind of just the fucking Wild West.
It was.
It was like the only thing over there.
Yep.
And it was just this like kind of, there was no cops over there.
Yeah.
It was just, you know, it was across the street from the projects.
There was like no capacity forever.
Yeah.
And we went well over that.
I remember-
It's like nobody knew like the law did not know we were there.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And I remember it being so packed and so hot.
Yeah.
I remember one of the, I was working one night, and I walked over by the door, like the bar door, and the walls were literally sweating.
Yeah.
The walls were sweating.
It was
And I
bad.
was like, it's hot. It's hot, motherfuckers.
And we dealt with it. It's fine.
Yeah, we did great.
Well, before we wrap it up, we always ask our guests what their favorite drink is.
Ooh, you know, right now I've got a big hard on for a okay, medium hard on.
Medium? Light chub there?
You got a chub?
I got a soft chub for a mezcal Negroni.
Okay.
I could see you liking that.
Yeah, it's been it's I feel like it's always like a great starter, and then I'll switch to beer, but it's always like if I'm going out, because it's hot as shit, and you want something like,
true.
you want something delicious and not too, you know, not too thick, you know. Mezcal
I knew you were either
Negroni.
gonna say beer or something bougie.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, we are at that time, unfortunately, but it's been absolutely amazing.
It's
you so much.
grown
Thanks
folks
for
drink.
doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, man, if you want to let the listeners know one more time how to find you.
Yeah, my name is JonathanTerrell, and I'm on your phone everywhere with multiple links and things. Find me, watch video. There's videos.
We'll
I'm on
tag 'em.
Spotify. Yeah, and thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for documenting this story.
JT.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Y'all, my eyes were like burning from crying, like my mascara getting into my eyes from crying. Like I was trying not to fuck with them. I was like, that is just ruined for this episode. I don't know.
Dude.
Worth it though. Oh, that was so good.